Okay. Hello. Testing. Just want to make sure I'm actually going. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I get videos about many different interesting topics, and today we have a video about called 5 famous and historic Madrid restaurants, including Botin, from a YouTube channel called Spain Revealed. And I recommend that channel. It's a really good channel. But what I do is I get videos about different interesting topics, and then we will watch the video and I will explain the vocabulary, expressions, and grammar along the way, especially focusing on the grammar more maybe. But let's jump straight into it and just get going. Just gotta make sure that everything's working.
Oldest still running restaurant in the world. So Benga,
Okay, so let's go from the beginning.
when you're in Spain, there are two things that you have to experience.
So when you're in Spain, there are two things that you have to experience and discover. I'm going to go as fast as possible, okay, so that you pick up as many language points as possible. So
When you're in Spain, there are two things that you have to.
when you're in Spain, there are two things that you have to experience and discover. Instead of have to, you can also use should and must, okay? When you're in Spain, there are two things that you should experience and discover. Should is a similar meaning. Well, should means it's the best thing for you to do, but you have a choice. Have to, it's more, it's a little bit like no choice, you have to. And must would be the same. Must would be no choice, you have to do it. But we can also use must in a fun way. Oh, and have to. You can use have to and must in a fun way. Like, it's not so strict, it's not so serious. Oh, if you come to Madrid, you must try. You must try. What is famous in Madrid? Chorizo. I don't know. You must. It's just a fun way to use it. So let me check that everything's working. Okay. Okay, so there's another one, is gotta. Okay, so you could say when you're in Spain, there are two things that you have got to experience and discover. But when we say it quickly, it's there are two things that you've gotta experience and discover. And you've gotta, if you think about it, I can say here, I have a mouse and I have a cup of tea. Okay, on my table. I have a mouse, I have a cup of tea. But for some reason, it's kind of like a present perfect version, but it really just means the same as have. So I can say I have a mouse on my table, but I can also say I have got a mouse on my table. I've got. Okay? I have $10 US dollars. I have $10 in my pocket, or I can say I've got $10 in my pocket. Okay? So I have and I've got $10. They're the same thing. Okay? For whatever reason, we have another option to use. But then for the future, I could say after this class, I have to buy some groceries. Okay? I have to buy. But I can also say I have got to buy some groceries. After this class, I've got to buy some groceries. Really just means the same thing as have. I have to buy. Okay? Two different ways to say the same thing. So when you're in Spain, there's two things that you've got to experience and discover. But if you're an English learner, I recommend saying there are two things that you've got to experience and discover, because it's difficult to, when natives say it, they say it very quickly, and it's that you've got to, but you have to say it quickly for it to sound correct. So there's two things that you've got to experience and discover. Or slower, sorry, I'm taking long, but slower would be there are two things that you've got to experience and discover.
To experience and discover the food and the history.
food and the
Well,
history.
today in Madrid, I'm going to take you
Today in Madrid, I'm going to take you to five
of the most
historic taverns. A tavern is, it's a kind of a half bar, half restaurant, okay? Yeah, half bar, half restaurant. Most people know what a tavern is. So,
today in Madrid.
with the future tenses, everyone learns will in school. Let me just check to see. Sorry, I always got to check to see if everything's working. So, what? Okay, so today in Madrid, I'm going to take you to five of the most historic taverns. So, we all, well, students learn about will, but there's actually many ways to talk about the future. So, I call them the Fantastic Four. I have no other name for these future tenses. It's a silly name, but it's easy to remember. So, the Fantastic Four are: today in Madrid, I will take you to five restaurants. And will and gonna have the same meaning. Okay? Just think of it as there are two different ways to say the same thing. A lot of students tell me that in school, their teachers told them that, oh, you have to use will in this situation and you have to use gonna in this situation, you know, for future plans or when you're sure. I don't know. For me, it's a lot more gray. They really mean the same thing to me 99% of the time. So when we're watching a video when I'm watching videos like this with my students, whenever there's a future sentence, I always get them to test the difference between will and gonna, and 99% of the time they both mean the same thing. Okay, so today in Madrid, it's not really black and white in meaning, it's more gray. Okay, they basically mean the same thing. So today in Madrid, I will take you, and today in Madrid, I'm gonna take you to five restaurants. They're both future simple, and they both mean the same thing, mostly. And then there's future continuous. Today in Madrid, I will be taking you. Today in Madrid, I will be taking you to five taverns. So you could ask, what's the difference between I will take you and I will be taking you? There's actually 99% of the time there's no difference, because most actions have process. For me, what it looks like is like 99% of verbs or actions have process. So take is a process. He will take you around Madrid. Okay, it's a process. I could say I will watch a movie, but I can also say I will be watching a movie, because watching a movie is a process. So they mean the same thing. I will watch a movie, I will be watching a movie. Basically the same thing. There's only 1% of verbs that I see that you can only use the future simple, and it's very instant actions. So something like, if you see some kids kicking a ball and you say, careful, careful, you will break that window. Okay, so you can only say you will break that window. You cannot say you will be breaking that window, because break is super instant. Okay, and you cannot say you will be breaking the window, because you have to be in some kind of slow motion universe to see the window breaking in process. So, but break is instant. So you can only say, be careful, you will break the window, or you are gonna break that window. Or drop a cup. Okay, you cannot say you will be dropping the cup. Only you will drop the cup, or you're gonna drop the cup. Future simple. But this is only 1% of verbs that are very instant like that. So let me just check. Okay. Just check my audio. Hello, hello. All right. So then the other one is, today in Madrid, I'm gonna take you to five taverns. Gonna, future simple. Same as will take you. But then there's a very tricky, difficult future continuous with gonna, and it's, today in Madrid, I'm gonna be taking you to five taverns. So there's I will be taking you, wait, I will be taking you, and I am gonna be taking you to 5 taverns. Both future continuous, but really all 4, they mean the same thing because 99% of actions have process, especially take is a process. So in this situation, you have 4 different ways to say the same thing, and they're all interchangeable basically in this situation. Today in Madrid, I will take you. I will be taking you. I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna be taking you to 5 taverns. They're interchangeable. Okay, so
Madrid, I'm going to take you to 5 of the most historic
taverns,
taverns and restaurants in this city, including the oldest still running
restaurant in the world. So we have gerund. Okay, a gerund is verb ing on its own, and you can see like a verb ing on its own in weird places in a sentence. So sometimes it can be a noun, sometimes a verb, sometimes an adjective. So I like programming. Programming is a gerund noun. It's a concept. Okay, I like programming. Or yesterday I stayed at home watching TV shows all day long. I stayed at home watching. Watching TV shows. Watching is a gerund verb. The feeling is more verb. Sometimes it's more adjective. Like in this situation, restaurant is a noun, but the oldest still running is a gerund adjective in this situation. But it's complicated because it's a compound adjective. But swimming pool, yeah, pool noun, swimming gerund adjective. But we can also see the gerund with linking words. I would call it connection words. Like you can use a sentence, you can have a statement like I'm going to take you to 5 of the most historic taverns, first statement, and then you can introduce a new sentence but use a connecting word, use the gerund as the connecting word. Okay, it's kind of like you're connecting ideas. You're giving more description to the original statement. So okay, like according to, you can see it there, or including. So let's go.
the world. So venga, let's go. Hey Spain lovers, I'm James Blick and welcome to Spain Revealed. This channel is all about helping.
This channel is all about helping. So helping is a gerund, but what is the function? Is it noun, verb, or adjective? For me, it's a little more verb in this situation. Okay, this channel is all about helping, but sometimes it's half verb, half noun. It's hard to tell. But here it feels a little more verb to me. So this channel is all about gerund. My job is all about gerund. My job is all about teaching grammar. Okay, your job is all about managing an ice cream shop. I don't know. Managing. Okay, gerund, verb.
You explore Spain like
You see,
this channel's all.
it's on its own. It's verb ing on its own. You could say there is an is, but this is not present continuous because this channel is about something, okay, or some action is about this action or this concept. So it's not present continuous. It's a gerund.
All about helping you explore Spain like
a local.
And when I first moved to the city about
8 years ago, so maybe people remember before, but is this a zoom in to a specific point in time, or is this a zoom out where we don't know the time? Okay, it's obvious it's a zoom in because he mentions 8 years ago. So when we zoom in like that to a specific time, or when we mention a specific time, then we use the past simple. So when I first moved, past simple. For the present perfect, we don't mention any specific time. Okay, You could just say, I have traveled to Madrid before. I have traveled to Madrid before. Okay? There's no specific point in the timeline. Okay, it's just before. So I think of it as it's very zoom out. Present perfect is very zoom out. But it's still finished in the past. Zoom in and zoom out, they both finished in the past. I've traveled to Madrid before, but I'm not in Madrid now. I traveled there 2 years ago, but I'm not there now. Okay, finished in the past. What question could you ask to get this answer? Okay, question grammar is quite difficult, but what is the question you need to ask to get this answer? So it's a when question. Okay, so when one question you could ask would be, when did he move to this city? Okay, so when did he move to Madrid? So with questions, question grammar is very difficult. So question grammar, you start with the question word, when, and then we use the small verb or the auxiliary verb. Okay, so when, small verb, did. Okay, when did, noun, he. Okay, he. Then main verb, move. Okay, when did he move to the city? Okay, so just with questions, with classic questions, just remember question word, small verb, noun, main verb, and then there's extra information, like when did he first move to this city? Extra information. For the present perfect, it would be, what languages have you learned? Okay, so what languages? This is actually, it's not a question word, it's a question expression. Okay, you can use a question word or question expression. So question expression, what languages, then small verb. What languages have you, noun, and then main verb, studied or learned? What languages have you learned? Okay, that's the structure for like a classic question.
About 8 years ago, I fell deeply.
So he fell deeply in love with the food and the history. So is fell in love, is it a zoom in or zoom out? Is he zooming into a specific story and time, or is he zooming out where we don't know the time? It's actually zoom in because he mentioned
When I first moved,
he's beginning his story, 8 years ago when he moved to the city. So we're zooming into that specific story 8 years ago of his life. Okay, and then everything after that, he will add details with past simple or past continuous. Okay, so when we're zooming into a story, he doesn't have to mention the time again and again and again. He just mentions the time once, and then to add details, he can use the past simple and the past continuous.
I fell deeply in
So he fell deeply in love with the food and the history. It's a zoom in detail of the story.
love with the food
Past simple.
and the history of this wonderful
Of this wonderful Spanish capital.
Spanish capital and the places where I could go.
And the places where I could go and combine both. So could is the past of can. Okay? Past, we're zooming in to his story.
And combine both. They were just like
The places where I could go and combine food and history, they were just like magic to this Kiwi boy. So a Kiwi boy is a person from New Zealand, a guy from New Zealand. Okay, Kiwi girl, a girl from New Zealand. Kiwi is, there's a Kiwi bird from New Zealand. I think it's the national symbol. There's kiwi fruit, I think, which New Zealand is famous for, kiwi fruit. And someone from New Zealand is a Kiwi. Okay, someone from Australia, an Aussie. Aussies and Kiwis. So the places where he could go, they were just like magic to this guy from New Zealand, this Kiwi. So they were like magic, past simple, because we're zooming into his story 8 years ago.
magic to this Kiwi boy who'd come from a new world.
To this Kiwi boy who'd come from a new world country. So for the British, when the British were going around doing their thing and conquering the world, the lands that they conquered, I think they called it the New World. Okay, so Australia, New Zealand, I guess Canada was the New World, and yeah. So this, but then the question is this grammar here. What does this D represent? What word does it represent? It represents. Some students could think it represents wood, but in this you have to understand from context that it means had. Okay. So
they were just like magic to this Kiwi boy who'd come from a new world.
This Kiwi boy who'd come. You see, if it was wood, oh, who had come? Yes, sometimes hard, but you just have to understand from context that what he means is that before he arrived in Madrid 8 years ago, he had come from New Zealand, from this New World country. So, so past perfect is, I call it past in the past. Okay, because a lot of students just when they learn the past perfect or the past perfect continuous, they jump into stories and just start using the past perfect and past perfect continuous. You know, like yesterday I had been watching TV and I had eaten breakfast and then someone had come to the door. You cannot do that. With the past perfect and past perfect continuous, you need step 1 and then you need step 2. Step 1, you have to mention the specific point in the past. Okay? So the specific point in the past is 8 years ago, because he mentioned the time, specific time 8 years ago when he moved to Madrid. So that's this step 1, that's the specific point. Then you can go to step 2, which is past perfect and past perfect continuous. So to this Kiwi guy who had come from a New World country before the fixed point of 8 years ago. Okay, but you can only use past perfect and past perfect continuous. It's only step 2. Step 1, you need the fixed point. So before I started this live stream, so before I started, that's the fixed point, I had been teaching a student. So I had been teaching. It's past in the past. It's before the fixed point. Or before I started this live stream, I had taught one of my students. I had taught. Okay, had taught or had been teaching. You can use them both because teaching is a process. They mean the same thing. So, yeah, past perfect, past in the past. But to use the past perfect, you have to mention the fixed point first. So,
World country, and so we're going to visit 5 of my.
So we're going to visit 5 of my favorites today. So the Fantastic Four. Think about it. Can we use all 4 in this situation? The answer is yes, because visit is a process. So you can say, so we will visit 5 of my favorites today. We will visit is the same as we're going to visit. In this situation, they both mean the same thing. We will visit, we're going to visit, they're the same thing. Future continuous, so we will be visiting 5 of my favorites today. So we'll be, and you can say we'll. So we'll be visiting 5 of my favorites today. You can also say we're gonna visit, and then the very difficult one for most students is we're gonna be visiting 5 of my favorites today. We're gonna be visiting 5 of my favorites. So all 4, they all have the same meaning. You can choose any one because visit is a process.
My favorites today, places where you can eat.
Places where you can eat food.
Have a drink.
Have a drink, drink wine, drink vermouth. Vermouth is I don't know if it's a cheap wine but it's a kind of a different kind of wine from Spain, I guess. Maybe Spain. Maybe French.
Wine, drink vermouth while around you there's memory.
While while, like when, like at the time, around you, there is memorabilia. Think memorabilia, memory, meaning objects from the past. Okay, old objects from the past. Remember memorabilia. You could say artifacts.
Memorabilia, they're like museums.
They're like museums. These restaurants are like museums.
There's artifacts.
There's artifacts, meaning kind of similar to memorabilia, like old objects from the past.
From the past, and there are places where
so many people
have passed through generations.
So there are places where so many people have passed through. Is it zoom in or zoom out? Okay, it is zoom out. We don't know when they passed through, but we know they have passed through. Okay, so the present perfect, we don't mention the specific time. It's just very zoom out. We don't know when, but we know it happened. Well, we know it has happened. So many people have passed through. Generations of people.
Generations of people. There's loaded with.
They're just loaded with stories, with mystery and wonder. So loaded. Sometimes it can look passive. Sometimes it's really just an adjective. Okay, so for the passive, we use the third form verb. So break, broke, broken. The passive would be, my phone was broken by this dude, this guy. My phone was broken. Okay, passive, third form, break, broke, broken. But sometimes it looks like a passive, but really the third form can also be used like an adjective. So I could say this, I can say my phone is broken. My phone is, in this situation, it's more adjective. My phone is broken. It's adjective. It's third form adjective. I could say this movie is complicated. Okay? To complicate, complicated, complicated. Okay? Verb 1, 2, and 3. This movie is verb number 3, complicated. It's a verb number 3 adjective. So I think it's the same with loaded here. It's kind of an adjective. Well, it could be half passive, half adjective. But to load is to, what is load? You know, if there's a truck and there are products and people put the products into the truck, they are loading the truck. Okay, they load the truck. So this bar, this tavern is full. It's loaded. It's it's full. Just think of that. These restaurants, they are third form adjective, I would say, loaded with stories. Because there's really no by here. They're loaded, you could say by people, but it's a little more adjective, with mystery and wonder.
Stories with mystery and wonder. So let's go and check out the first.
So let's go and check out, have a look at the first restaurant.
First one. We're actually in my original neighborhood.
We're actually in my original neighborhood of Lavapiés.
Neighborhood of Lavapiés. And in this neighborhood is a
tavern, half bar restaurant thing.
Tavern that opened originally
in the 1780s. So why do we use past simple? Because we use a specific time. Okay, it doesn't always have to be super specific, but it could be more or less specific in time, like the 1780s. Grammatically, it's a specific time. So it's very zoom in, the sentence. It opened, we're zooming into that time on the timeline, 1780s. But you cannot say that has opened in the 1780s, okay? Because the 1780s is zoom in, and then you're trying to use a zoom out, has opened. You can't put the two together. But past simple is zoom in, and 1780s is zoom in. Okay, so if you want to ask a question, like you want to know when, what is a question that you can ask to get this answer? You know, when. You could say, when did this tavern open? So when, question word, did, small verb, this tavern, noun, open, main verb. When did this tavern open?
in the 1780s, and it's still going.
And it's still going today. Present continuous. It's still going right now in process.
Today. So we're going to check that out.
So look, Fantastic Four. What do you think? Do they all work, or can you only use the future simple? Again, they all work. Okay. We'll check that out. We'll is we will. We will check that out, or we'll check that out. We'll be checking that out. So we'll be checking that out. Okay, same thing. They mean the same thing. We'll check that out. We'll be checking that out. We're gonna check that out, and then the difficult one. We're gonna be checking that out. You can use any of these four. They mean the same thing. You can relax with the rules with the future tenses, because I don't know why, but in school they seem to terrify students. You know, oh, there's a big difference, and oh, you're going to be in such trouble if you use will or gonna in this situation. But for me, they're extremely flexible, most 99% of the time. So let's go. That's my job, to reduce your anxiety with the future tenses.
I can't wait to explore these
I can't wait. Okay, that's easy.
places. Okay, so here we are in Taberna
Here we are.
Antonio Sanchez. I hope you guys can hear me.
I hope.
It's pretty loud in here. We're here at about 2:30.
We're here at 2:30. What question could you ask with what time? With good question grammar. What time? So one question you could ask is, what time did he arrive at this tavern? Okay, so what time is question expression. Okay, there's question word would be where did you travel? Just where, and then small verb. Where did. But question expression would be like what time, a few words, 2 words or a few words, and then small verb. So what time did, small verb, he, noun, arrive, main verb, at this tavern, extra information. So
30 on a Saturday. So this place is
and it's zoom in. What time did he arrive? He arrived at 2:30.
we're here at
He arrived. You cannot say he has arrived at 2:30.
about 2:30 on a Saturday. So this place is incredible. It's hidden away. You kind of stumble across it.
It's hidden away. So here we go. This looks passive. Yeah, we have the verb be or is, and then third form, to hide. I hide. He hid. He has hidden. Okay, so it's verb number 3, hidden, but it's not passive. It's more adjective here. We have be, but this third form, it's more adjective. Okay, third form adjective. So it's hidden away. You know, it's difficult to see when you're walking down the street. You kind of stumble across it. Stumble means a small fall. You fall a little bit. But when drunk people stumble. But stumble across, phrasal verb, means you don't fall. When you say stumble across, you don't fall, you accidentally discover something. So you're walking down the street and you're, whoa, oh, look at this tavern, so cool. You accidentally discover something. You can even use it, you know, with information. Yesterday I was watching YouTube and I stumbled across an awesome video about Madrid. I accidentally discovered. So
You might not expect it.
you might not expect it. What's the difference between might and may? Nothing. They have the same probability. May, they're both 50-50 maybe. You might not expect it, you may not expect it, but may is just more formal, more polite. That's the only difference.
But I love coming here.
I love coming here. So there are a lot of verbs you have. If you have many verbs you want to use, you would say, I want to travel to Italy, for example. I want to. We use to. But there are some emotional verbs where we use gerund. There's no to. So I like coming here. I love coming here. I hate coming here. I enjoy coming here. I prefer coming here. Okay. Yeah. When I was younger, I hated studying, or I hated doing homework. Okay, so I hated gerund, doing. Or when I was younger, I enjoyed playing video games. It's not I enjoyed to play. It's a little weird. It's I enjoyed playing gerund video games. And yeah, I think that's all for today. Just a quick live stream lesson. But yeah, I could continue with this video next time, and hopefully you got some. You gained some new language points and grammar, some vocabulary. But cool. I'm gonna keep going next time and keep coming back if you wanna learn some grammar and some cool, interesting topics. Okay, good stuff.